This is a video for Critical Review 1 classwork. So we have 3 problems today. Problem number 1 says write and solve an equation for Christian's story. Gamers earn exactly 53 credits each time they win the video game Brad Pitt versus Dr. Evil. Christian played the game 12 times and won 8 of the games. How many credits does he have? So when you look at the problem, you can see that you earn 53 credits each time you win the game. It's a flat amount that you win. And it says that he played 12 times, but he only won 8 times. So we can dismiss this information right now that he played 12 times. That's extra information in the story. We don't need it to solve the problem. We just need to know how many times he won. So it's a pretty basic problem, and but we're asked to write an equation. So I'm going to write the equation 53 times 8 equals. So now I have to do the multiplication for that. So 53 times 8. 8 times 3 is 24, so I'm going to carry the 2 and bring my 4 down, and then multiply 8 times 5, that's 40, plus the 2 that I carried, and that's 42. So my equation is 53 times 8, and my solution is 424. So in 7th grade now, we do not use this symbol anymore for multiplication, because a lot of times you're going to be using the variable x, and so it can get confusing if you use an x as a multiplication symbol. So we don't do that anymore. It's this little dot. All right, problem number 2 says Jaden has earned 318 points by playing the awesome Brad Pitt game. Write and solve an equation to show how many games he won. So now our first problem was a multiplication problem. This is going to be a division problem. So he earned 318 points by playing this game, and we saw in the first part of today's classwork that he earned 53 credits each time he won a game. So what we have is 318 points, and we're going to divide that by how many points he earned each time he played a game. Oops. So I'm going to write my division symbol, if I can get my marker to work. 318 divided by 53 equals. So now I'm going to do the division here. So and a lot of times people aren't sure what goes on the outside of the division symbol, the 318 or the 53. So here's how you do it. You're going to write it the way that you read it. So I have 318 divided by, so I want you to think of this division symbol here as the same as this division symbol up here. Okay, when you see that symbol and when you say it, you're going to write this this division symbol here. So it's 318 divided by 53. Okay, so then I have to kind of do some mental math here. So 53 does not go into 3, it does not go into 31, but it will go into 318. So let's try to puzzle that out. I know I'm going to reduce this 50 in my mind. I'm going to say, or the 53, I'm going to call it 50, and I'm going to ask myself, how many times does 50 just go into 300? I'm going to turn that 318 into 300. Well, I know there's 2 50s in 100, so there's 4 50s in 200 and 6 50s in 318. So let me just do some little side work, and you guys I want to see the work that you do on the side. So let me erase that. So I'm going to do some side work here. I'm guessing that it's 6. So I have to do that. I have to actually do the work here. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 1 is 31. So that works. So I'm not going to put the 6 here over the 3 because 53 didn't go into 3. I'm not going to put it over the 1 because 53 didn't go into 31, but I will put it over the 8 because 53 went into 318 6 times. Then I multiply 6 times 53, and I already did the work. I know that that's 318. Then I subtract, and I get 0. So the answer to number 2 is 6. That Jaden won 6 games. In problem number 3, it asks, if Dr. Evil took 10 years to travel 38.7 million miles to flee to his home planet, how many miles did he travel in 1 year? Now, the reason I have put this problem in the work is because I want to show you a shortcut that saves a ton of time. So I could write out, I'm going to think of that 38.7 million as just 38.7. I could go, I could do this 38.7 divided by 10 divided by 10, and then I could work that problem out. But there's a shortcut. Now I know that if I'm dividing a number by another number, the answer is going to be smaller than the original number. So so my trick is this. If I'm dividing 38.7 by a factor of 10, by 10, 100, 1,000, then all I have to do is move my decimal point, the amount of zeros there are. So I'm going to rewrite it as 38.7 times 10, or excuse me, divided by 10. That means that I'm going to take this 38.7 and I'm going to move that decimal place. There's 1 0 in the number I'm dividing by, right? There's 1 0 and 10 right there. So I'm going to move my decimal point 1 place. And I'm moving it to the left because I'm dividing. So my answer would be 3.87. So it's going to, and remember, we're talking about billions, or excuse me, millions of miles. So in 10 years, you would travel 38.7 million miles, but in each year, in 1 year, you're only traveling 3.87 billion miles. So the main idea here is that you're just moving the decimal. If you're dividing a decimal by 10, you move the decimal point 1 place to the left. Now, if I were going to divide by, let's say I was going to divide by 100. Let's say that I had 38.7 divided by 100. Well, then I would just move my decimal point 2 places. 1, 2. So then that tells me I would be traveling 0.387 million miles in 1 year, or in 100 years. So that is today's work. Make sure that you have everything written down on your paper in order to get credit.